Rev up your engines! Nissan Murano that was purchased 2 years ago for $6,000. Okay, was it worth it? What's the good, the bad, and the ugly on these things? You're gonna find out. Now, as with any car, you wanna do a little history before you buy it. This particular one, you would have done research to realize that you would never want to buy a 2009 Nissan Murano. Their CVT transmissions were garbage, most of them broke. This is a 2011. Not known for that problem. If you're going to buy one of these, my advice, stay away from the all-wheel drive. A lot more complexity, more things that break, and worse gas mileage. Let's face it, these aren't gas misers anyway. Gets in the low 20s at best. You don't get these things for gas mileage. They do have a lot of space. This one carries 3 teenagers around. There's a lot of room in these things. And they do have the classic high-riding SUV. One of the reasons they get worse gas mileage. They're higher up in the air. They don't have that great of a low coefficient of drag, so there's more friction involved. But you feel totally safe in one of these things. Now we'll get to the engine, and look at that, the struts still hold it up. It's got a decent, powerful V6 engine. These Nissan engines are, you know, known for being strong, and it's a modern design. It's got a timing chain. It doesn't have one of those stupid rubber timing belts that you have to deal with, so that's one less thing to think about. And as mentioned before, it does have the CVT transmission. Now, this one is still working perfectly fine, even though it has 176,000 miles on it. Now, the owner who bought it used 2 years ago for $6,000 says he doesn't particularly love it, but it still works fine and goes down the road. It is a Japanese vehicle. The AC still works. The heat works fine, the power windows work. Now, truthfully, I would have never bought this car brand new. It was about $30,000. But considering that he paid $6,000 2 years ago, hasn't had to put any real serious money into the thing. Now the original owner, they're what, $24,000 in the hole. But he's not. Now, would you rather have a Lexus SUV? Possibly you would. You're not going to find one for $6,000. That's a 2011. Good luck on that. But these? There's a whole bunch of them out there. And like I said, you don't want a 2009, they had CVT problems. And if you're buying one of these used, you gotta hire a guy like me to check it out with his computer. Now, he's thinking you're getting a little bit of misfiring, so I'm gonna hook my computer up and do a little analysis of it. Like I say, you can't hide from the computer, you always wanna pay a mechanic. Here's a fancy computer I've been trying out lately, and we'll see what it says. Alrighty, got an Asian, we got a Nissan, and here we go, scanning through everything. Never expect perfection with one of these older ones. It's got 3 ABS codes, actuators, loss of communications, but it goes back to non-ABS, regular brakes when it doesn't work. If you don't care, many people ignore these. But the body control module has 12. Let's see what those are. Loss of communication. Antenna, use the wrong key, shift position, status, flat tires, manual, right rear, vehicle speed signal, error. No, there's no check engine light on this car. It passes emissions test, no problems at all. But it's got a lot of minor problems most people are going to live with. So the transmission might be worse. It's got 4 transmission codes. We'll look at them. Engine speed, transmission control module, and fluid pressure is low. My guess is this is what he feels when he says that highway speeds kind of feels a little bit off. It also has a communication circuit error from the CAN bus. That's the computer wiring. They'll often trip these but run perfectly fine. Good thing is the engine and everything checks out fine. I'm gonna read the data stream. All signals. Nothing seems odd yet. You can see the injector pulse on bank 1 is a little bit more than bank 2, not by much. It's got a little bit of a roll, but that's typical with this kind of mileage. So the engine itself is in excellent shape. The only real problem that exists is a little bit of problems with the CVT, but it goes good enough. That's stuff that you're going to live with. So I'll take it for a spin. It is a relatively smooth SUV. Like I've said previously, you're high up in the air, you got a good view. Even with 176,000 miles, the shocks and struts are still working decent. You feel totally secure. It is a very comfortable ride. For an SUV, I'd give it maybe 8.5 out of 10 for its ride. For a used $6,000 car, it's nothing to sneeze at. And it's a relatively quiet vehicle still. We're going down a normal road here. No particularly loud road noise, even though it's 38 degrees outside, where the tires are going to be colder and make a little bit more noise, but it's a pretty quiet vehicle still. Now we're going to check the transmission out a little. It did have some codes for it. We'll see how it does when we give it a little gas. It's got a reasonable amount of power. It doesn't shift because it's a CVT, but it pulls the vehicle quite nicely down the road. Not any particular problems you're going to notice. Found out the computer's found problems, but it's not something really that you even notice driving the vehicle. It does have a little bit of a speed whistle. You can hear the air going through. These Nissan bodies, they often get air leaks. You can hear a little whistling as you drive. It's not going to hurt anything. Overall, I have to say I'd never pay $30,000 for this new, but 2 years ago, $6,000 if I needed a big SUV. Not that bad of a deal, really. It has a lot of zip left. Step on the gas, it does go. And it handles quite well in the twisties for a tall SUV. So what have we learned? Never expect perfection in an older vehicle. But on the other hand, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. This thing was $24,000 less than new, and it still runs like that. So it's nothing to complain about. Now you know the truth. A little bit more about Nissan Muranos. If you're thinking about buying one, what years to look at, and how to check them out. And here's some bonus questions and answers. JR says, are the current generation RAV4 as dependable as the older? All right, I can't say. They're too new. You can never tell until they've been out for years. Toyota always makes good vehicles, but like everybody else, they're making them super complex. And nobody's going to know till time passes by. Toyota's got their new system, dynamic force stuff, and it's GDI and regular fuel injection system. Very complex. It works quite well. Maybe they'll all break in 4 or 5 years. I don't know. They haven't been out long enough. So we'll find out. I know the old ones were dependable. Pablo Arias says, 1999 Nissan Frontier, thoughts? Decent pickup truck. You know, they won't last as long as a Toyota, but they can last quite some time. They cost less. You can get them cheaper. Remember, before that, they had the old hard body ones, and those were solid. Datsun and then Nissan, they were solid built little trucks. And you can get them a lot cheaper than you could a Toyota. There's no arguing that. And you can still get parts for them. They're good, solid built little trucks. There's nothing wrong with them. They can last a long time, and like I said, you can get them used pretty cheap. Oscar Espino says, 2019 Ford Escape Titanium, is it worth it? Depends on what you pay for it. It's a used car, right? I wouldn't overpay. I think they're way overpriced vehicles, those titanium. The list prices of those things is astronomical. And after all, it is a Ford. Realize that almost every vehicle, especially American vehicles, when you buy one and you drive it off the lot, you've already lost 50 to 60% of the value of the vehicle. So, unless you're getting that thing for less than half the original list price, I wouldn't even think about buying it. Martin's MS Kua Jr. 2 says, Scotty, I got a 2002 F-150. Sometimes it feels like it struggles to start. Any ideas what it could be? Okay. When a vehicle doesn't start, always do the simple things. First, have your battery load tested. A weak battery can do that. Any auto parts store can check it for free. If it's not that, if the air filter's clogged, it can do it. If the spark plugs are worn out, it can do it. Always check the obvious things. Now, if it's not that, a lot of times, as cars age, and that's what, 19 years old, the fuel injectors don't spray the right amount of fuel when they're cold. So, watch my video. Make your car run better with a little spray cleaner. That fixes it. Voila! They can often fix a problem like that. Now, if the fuel pump's starting to go out, sometimes they'll be hard to start because when the fuel pump starts, it has to warm up a little. And if that's the case, of course, eventually it won't work at all. Then you won't start and you'll have to replace the fuel pump. So you might pressure test the fuel pump too. Keandre says, yo, why do I keep getting the reduced engine power thing on my car? Yo, all right, because you got a problem. When you have a problem, the computer automatically puts reduced engine power so you don't damage anything. Take it to a mechanic, even a discount auto parts store, and guess what? They can put a scan tool on it. If it's got reduced engine power, there's going to be codes. Then you got to analyze the codes. Now, let's say you don't trust anybody. We'll go to an auto parts store, have them plug in. If they give you codes, then just email them to me. and I can analyze them. It's that simple. My website, ScottyKilmer.com. I answer questions there free all the time. Just go there, ScottyKilmer.com, ask a question, they get answered. Voila. But you got to get those codes, because I can't guess. There's over, 900 of them, and I can't guess. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.